Let's talk about trash foreigners. The kind of foreigners that you don't want in China, and the kind of foreigners you want to avoid while you're in China as a foreigner. So one of them I have to talk about is one guy that I used to work with. Actually, he only worked maybe a few days until he got maybe fired or just he quit. I don't know what happened. So this guy comes into the kindergarten that I work at, tries the job, went to had lunch with him a couple times. Once at the teacher's room, teacher's eating room, and then the other place was at KFC because he could not eat anything there. He would only eat rice, and I mean you'd see the IEs and the other teachers looking at him like, "Come on, man!" You'd see me eating everything, anything they gave me, I would eat. And I remember this one time I was sitting there, and when he left, the other teachers, the other IEs, you know, the ladies who help there with the kitchen and the cleanup and stuff like that, they look at me and they're like, "Michael, Jim Bum," kind of thing. But anyway, so this guy, if you don't like the food, I don't know why you'd even stay in China. I don't even know how you survive. Like, this guy was skinny as a stick, so I don't know if he had some kind of eating disorder or anything like that. But anyways, I talked to him at KFC, and he tells me that, I don't even know why he shares this with me. He tells me that he knocked up a girl and then forced her to get an abortion. And I'm just thinking in my head, you're a scumbag. Get out of this country. Like, why are you doing this? And why? This is like the most lowly thing you can do. And there's a lot of foreigners I've heard that are like this. They come here, they sleep around, they play around. It's just a big, you know, they're just there to have fun. And maybe they're just losers back home, and they're losers in this country too. I just hope that during this pandemic, a lot of them were cleared out and the good ones stayed. And to be honest, yeah, the honest guys would stay behind. And seeing that it's a little bit harder for the foreigners to get into right now, it's a good incentive to keep those stray ones away. All right, another reason is like foreigners. If you're planning to go to China, good. First of all, are you interested in the culture? Are you interested in the food? Do you have a sense of adventure? Do you have a strong view towards China before you go there? Do you already have your own perceptions about like your judgment about the culture and everything and about the law and the rules and stuff like that? You might want to rethink it, because if you go into China with your perspective of like, this is how things should be because they're like this in my country, don't go. You're not going to enjoy it, and you're not going to make a good image towards, you know, other people. I mean, I don't think it helps anybody at all. Then it's going to be a waste of your time. So don't go. Another thing is, if you enjoy stuff like smoking weed, nope, don't do it. Don't even try. If you can quit that and go over to China, that's fine. But do not even try that, because you'll either be deported, arrested, and at worst, if you're carrying a lot of if you think about doing some drug dealing, you can see yourself with the death penalty. Don't even try it. There is a zero tolerance for that. And as well as driving drunk. Zero tolerance. I mean, I know in my country, you can have one beer, that's fine. There's a certain percentage, but there, it's zero. You cannot have any of it in your system. And even if you think about smoking weed, even within the month before you fly to China, and it's in your system, you're out. And if you plan to get married and have kids, you got to make a first decision. Are you going to have them in China, or are you going to have them abroad? Where are you going to raise them? Because if you plan on actually moving and living long-term in China, then stay there. Don't think that you can just take your kids to your country, have them born there, raise them up, at least like, for the first 3 years, and then try to move back, not that easy. It is going to be a lot harder for them to implement back into the system. They're going to have to be very fluent in Chinese, and they're going to have to be at the same educational level. And it's like 5 levels higher than what you would see in the West. So think about that before you think about having kids. So my recommendation, just personally, my recommendation for that is if you're going to have kids and you're marrying someone from China, do the school system there. I know there's some things that you won't agree with, but like for the school system, but there's many options. You can have international schools. You can put the kid in an art school, which they kind of teach a Western style. There's many schools you can choose from, especially when you're in the larger cities. So, and there's many different kind of cities around in China. So there's many to choose from, different lifestyles too. So, I mean, for me as a Canadian, I think in China there's a much larger, I would say, palette to choose from when it comes to where you want to live, what kind of lifestyle you want, and the education you want for your kids. I talked a little bit more about this in my Why I Love China 3, so you can go check out that video. I talked a little bit about that at the end of the video. So I'd highly encourage anybody who wants to go to China, do it. I mean, it's not only that you have like this big city metropolis kind of futuristic atmosphere in the big cities, but you also have the adventure side. Like you can go traveling, like there's so many places to travel, even outside the country, the different Asian countries. There's so much to explore. That's the advantage of living in China. You get good pay, and you have the time to travel, and it's cheap to travel, and you just have so much at the tip of your fingers. And that's coming from someone living in North America. Just so much to see. Now another thing is, if you have a bachelor's degree, but you're not like specialized in anything like in IT or anything that's really a trade or specific education that they're looking for. I mean, they're looking for foreigners who have specific needs for their industries, like in IT and stuff like that, or business, economics, things like that. But if you're just a regular person with just a regular bachelor's degree in whatever in education or something like that, you're likely going to be just an English teacher, and you got to be willing to just be okay with that and be used to people expecting you to be, let's see, the first foreigner that they've ever met. And that happens a lot, especially in the second tier and lower cities. In the big tier, like cities is like Beijing and Shanghai, you're only going to experience that in the touristy areas. But other than that, yeah, you're going to be asked like by the random people to take photos and just where are you from, stuff like that. So you got to be the kind of person to be open to that, like daily, and living after year of just being that person, like a unicorn. Like I have to say it like that, just like not feeling like you're just tired of it day after day, but like you gotta be the kind of person to be understanding that there's people coming from the countryside every day, and then the first time meeting a foreigner, and they just want to say hi and just use their English and stuff like that. So you gotta get used to that, living that for years. So always get used to that feeling, and get used to going to China thinking that you're always going to be the foreigner. You're never going to be able to like fully become Chinese. You can learn the language, the culture, be married in the family. I mean, around family, of course, family and friends, you're always going to be like, yeah, it's going to be like this. But you're always going to be accepted into your, I'm not going to say always accepted. I mean, fortunately for me and a lot of people like who get married into Chinese families, we do get accepted. And Chinese families are very loving and accepting and stuff like that. So, and some of them take years. Maybe if they come from a more traditional, conservative or farmers kind of how do I say, countryside. Um, yeah, it takes them a little bit longer to get used to it. But other than that, I mean, you're not going to have a problem feeling like you're an outsider, right? So people are very hospitable. They'll always make you feel welcome. But if you're kind of person that you can't get used to this big change, um, it's just not the thing I'd recommend for you to do. If you are not that open minded, not that accepting of another way of living, another way of doing things, not really having an open mind of understanding different perspectives, don't do it. Don't go, because that's like in any culture, like getting that culture shock. Some people go for a few days and then they just want to get out because they can't get used to it. So yeah, that's my recommendation for anywhere, like moving anywhere. But yeah, if you're that kind of guy and you can't get used to it, you just step in, figure it out within a week or two, and then you're gonna figure it out. But for all you scumbags out there, just coming to have a good time and sleep around and stay for a couple years just for fun, don't. Well, that's all I have to say for now, and yeah, leave a comment below, let me know what you think, and I'll keep making some videos more like this, more positive, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye bye. Anybody's moved to another country, and why they stay there is because food. Now, another thing is like also that if you have your own perspectives before moving to China, China's going to surprise you. A lot of foreigners might be going to China to reinvent themselves. I mean, that is one thing that is very, I could say for sure, it's very common for a lot of foreigners. When they go to China, they find an opportunity to reinvent themselves. They're in a new place, like, your family's not around and stuff like that. So that's a danger. If your friends and family, no one to judge you, no one actually knows what kind of person you are. So you might come up with this like Peter Pan mentality where it's like, oh, I can be anybody who I want to be. And you start acting like a person that you really aren't. And so that could be a negative thing. Another thing is some people come to China or move abroad because they have money problems, they have debts. And I have known a couple that have moved abroad to China because they've seen how I've lived. Like, oh wow, look at how he's doing. He's doing really well. And then they try to do the same thing, but they're in debt and they move on and they have the same bad habits and they bring them to China and then they're in debt. And they all have like, all kinds of money problems and things that they carry on and they get stuck. And then once they move back to their own country and they figure out things aren't working out well, and they've moved back home, they leave with a negative attitude and a bad perspective and giving a bad perspective about their experience there. And well, the experience they kind of created or put themselves into anyways. It probably took, well, they did. They took the easiest way, the maybe easiest way to get into China, and a company that would just take them easily and take a little bit advantage of them because knowing that, well, look at this is with the way that they deal with things. They borrow money from the company. That company is just gonna take advantage of you. Anybody would. I mean, if you're gonna be that kind of a douche to deal with, like, really. My advice is for anybody in their early 20s, it's a good place to go to, kind of invent yourself, to plan for what kind of person you want to be in the future, what kind of thing you want to do in the future. It does give you that time period to build your character and build a foundation of what you want in the future. And who knows, maybe you meet somebody and then you get married and you settle down there. So at least you have that time from your early 20s to build that person that you are and who you want to be. But hey, even if you had some troubles back home and things weren't working out, and you turned a new leaf. Let's just say you've turned a new leaf and you want to live a better life. You know, maybe moving abroad is a better thing. Maybe you need a new environment. Maybe you need to get rid of, I don't know, relationships, family, stuff like that. Maybe like circles you're around. You want to reinvent yourself, get into a different group of people. Maybe you don't think the same as you used to. You traveled so much, and you want to be in that kind of environment that that's kind of giving you more opportunities, and maybe you have a different perspective on things, and maybe this culture best suits your lifestyle and your way of thinking, maybe. So that's another thing about you can do is moving to China. You want to turn a new leaf. You want to live a different way. The society it is accepting to that. Like if it's like what I think it's a Confucius said, or I remember hearing from Deng Xiaoping that a black cat or a white cat, as long as you want to contribute to society, it's the right place to go. Now I'm stuttering a lot. Just I sound like Trudeau now, and I really don't like it. So I did make a new intro video, but it's been demonetized. I know I'm not making any money on these videos anyways, but in the future, if I want to use that or want people to watch these videos more, then I'm at disadvantage for that. That's really annoying because I chose music specifically from no copyright sounds, and they give free music that's copyright free. I mean, you shouldn't be getting demonetized for some reason. But I guess there's one country out there. I think it's Holland. I can't remember. Where that music, I guess, is, I don't know, for some reason on YouTube they have a copyright infringement because of the music I use, even though on their website they say themselves it's free. I've even posted it down below on my new intro video content, China content. It's on there. Like, I don't get it. What's going on, YouTube? It's supposed to be free, and there shouldn't be any copyright infringement. I don't know. Maybe something's weird. Maybe leave a comment below if you know anything about it's called No Copyright Sounds, and it's full of music, especially from Alan Walker, one of my favorite artists. It's all free to use in any content you want. So I don't get it. Let me know.